Hi everyone, it's Liza with some application tips for Columbia Business School's essays. For that first essay question, 3 tips to keep in mind. First and foremost, be sure to answer both the short-term goal and your long-term dream job. Too often we see people try to meld it together and not really think through each of those discrete goals and how they connect. So invest some time in giving each of them some love, so to speak, in your essay response. Tip number 2, when you are thinking about your goals, think about the impact that you want to have in them. Too often we see people that say, oh, my goal is to run my own company, to start a company, to be my own boss. Those are all very me focused. They're about your title, your accomplishment, but they actually don't speak at all to your impact. Instead, challenge yourself to think through the impact that you want to have in such a role. And the final tip is, even though Columbia in this first essay says, we've got your resume, we've got the other elements of your application, so don't tell us everything, you should still tell them some things. Your goals are sort of groundless if you don't help orient the reader to the context of why these are your goals. And usually that comes from your past experiences. So spend some time thinking through what are the most critical of your past experiences that have shaped your future goals. And it can also be accomplishments or skills that you have accrued that you can lend to your future goals. You want to convince Columbia that on the other side of this process, you're hireable. For Columbia's second essay question, the one where they ask you to share a time when you've made an environment more inclusive or fostered a sense of community or made it more collaborative, 2 quick tips. Number 1, use the STAR format. It stands for situation, task, actions, results, and reflection. That will help give the reader a structure to understanding your story and will make your story more stickier and more memorable at the end of this, which is part of the goal. Tip number 2, you're applying to business school, so you might think that you need to focus on professional experiences, but when you brainstorm potential responses for this, don't ignore those other outside of work experiences. There's no right or wrong answer, so judgment will be key, but think about what else you are presenting throughout in the other components of your essays, as well as what is the strongest example you have of this, and that will guide you to picking the most robust but complementary response to this question. For Columbia's third essay question, the one that asks you how you will co-create the optimal MBA experience while you are a student at Columbia, 3 quick tips there. The first is to consider this like a Goldilocks situation. Really want to paint a picture that gives the reader more information about you, but in the context of who you'll be at Columbia. Ground what you want to do on campus in what you've actually done. Create that sort of that Goldilocks, that bridge that connects you to the campus and vice versa. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, consider that wording co-create. It's a little ambiguous. But here's what I think that they want. They want to see you in action. So instead of being a joiner, joiners are very important. What's going to be where you take a leadership role or you take initiative? How are you going to work with your classmates to really create an excellent experience? And then lastly, as with any of these more why school X type questions, avoid pandering. If you are simply waxing poetic about why you love Columbia, that does nothing for you. So if you're just kind of laying it on thick, A, it's not endearing or compelling or memorable, and B, you're missing an opportunity to tell them more about you, and remember, you're the one who is applying. On a final note, Columbia asks its applicants to address 2 short response essay questions to better articulate their goals. The one that both the August entry and January entry applicants will need to respond to is, what is your immediate post-MBA career goal? You have only 50 characters to do this, but I encourage you to use every character just strategically. It's very easy to say something bland like, I want to be a management consultant, but go the extra mile to articulate perhaps what kind of management consultant, why, what area of focus you want to be in. Maybe there's a region of the country you want to work in. Any details that will make it a little stickier, because part of this is really convincing Columbia that you have thought about your goals more than just, oh, I want to go to business school. Even just prompting you to write them down gives you a better chance, or gives at least Columbia thinks that you will have a better chance of reaching those goals. So spend the time to give specifics as much as possible, even though I know the spacing is really tight.